Gohan Beast and Super Saiyan, two forms fueled by rage. But what is the difference between these two transformations? Well, that is the topic for today's video. We are going to get into what exactly fuels each transformation and how they are different. Now, the first thing I want you to consider in terms of the difference between these two forms is how early on in Dragon Ball Gohan experiences a rage boost. Gohan experiences a rage boost without having any high battle power. He still has a tail, and he experiences this pretty easy in comparison to how Goku or Gohan himself experienced Super Saiyan. It's almost night and day in comparison. Gohan felt this extremely easy whenever he first busted out of the pod and attacked Raditz. Now, shortly after Goku dies and Piccolo takes Gohan out into the wilderness to train him and learn to hone his battle instincts, Piccolo throws Gohan at a mountain, and when he does so, when Gohan realizes his life is in danger, this is essentially Gohan's inner Saiyan nature leaking out through his survival instincts. So essentially the idea is that when Gohan's heart starts racing, his Saiyan nature automatically starts to seep out, and so he gets this angry expression and he unleashes his power and he uses it to destroy this mountain that's in his path that Piccolo tosses him at. Now, this just goes to show you that the requirements for Gohan's rage are very, very, very different than the requirements for Super Saiyan. This also shows us that the effect that this rage has on Gohan's personality is very, very different than the effect that Super Saiyan has on Goku or Gohan or anyone else. Now let's talk about Super Saiyan for a minute. So when Goku first became a Super Saiyan on Namek, Akira Toriyama mentions that in order for him to become a Super Saiyan, not only did he need to have a certain amount of battle power, also S cells came into the equation later, but also there's a spiritual aspect to Super Saiyan. And Goku ends up empowering himself and his chi through energy, courage, and right-mindedness. Essentially, there are a variety of different types of chi that you need to not only have a specific mindset to perform well in battle, but you also need to be at a certain degree of health in order to perform well as well. The concept of chi within Dragon Ball and within martial arts is very complicated. It's not as simple and straightforward as people like to portray the series as a whole. It's actually very complicated due to the fact that it derives concepts from Buddhist and Taoist martial arts concepts. And so the idea is that Goku is not only ready to become a Super Saiyan within the context of having enough S cells, having a high enough battle power, he also has a very, very specific mindset that allows him to become a Super Saiyan. He is a Saiyan from Earth with a pure heart awakened by rage. His pure heart, which the pure heart is a requirement for Super Saiyan, and the rage in combination with his pure heart and his mindset, his S cells, all of these factors decide whether or not someone will become a Super Saiyan. And all of that is very important to consider when you're trying to consider the difference between Gohan Beast and Super Saiyan. Now, with Gohan Beast, as I discussed in my last video, it has been officially established that Ultimate Gohan is fueled by rage. And to be honest, this shouldn't be news because it's blatantly shown that Gohan taps into his latent potential via rage in the Dragon Ball Z manga itself. So the idea that they just started making the ultimate form fueled by rage is just completely bogus, because you can literally see right here in front of your eyes that Gohan is tapping into more of his latent power within the original Dragon Ball manga years and years and years before Dragon Ball Super or Gohan Beast ever existed. So the type of rage that Gohan uses to become Gohan Beast, as you can see, is very, very, very different than the type of rage and all the requirements needed for Super Saiyan. And I haven't even talked about the technique that they expanded on for Super Saiyan through Universe 6 in Dragon Ball Super. That's also another very important aspect of how the Ultimate State and Super Saiyan are different. In fact, I think that's probably why they had Gohan face Kefla in the Tournament of Power, to basically show, due to the fact that she is like a prodigy who figured out the technique to become Super Saiyan very easily, to show that Gohan's not going to rely on that technique. He's going to continue to evolve in his own way. And as I said in my last video, the dialogue that says Gohan is evolving as a human is a mistranslation. He's evolving down his own path as an individual. And you also have to keep in mind that Gohan is specifically referencing Super Saiyan when he's talking to Kefla in this scene, because Kefla is asking him why he's not becoming a Super Saiyan. So when he's talking about how he's going to evolve in his own way, he's referencing the fact that he's no longer going to use Super Saiyan specifically. He's not referencing his Saiyan blood in general. He's basically referencing the fact that he just refuses to use Super Saiyan itself. Now, in terms of Gohan's battle instincts, why is it that Gohan's battle instincts are associated with rage? In the latest chapter of Dragon Ball Super, Piccolo confirms that Gohan's battle instincts are what he needed in order to activate his ultimate state. Well, in the original Dragon Ball manga, whenever Piccolo took Gohan aside and decided to train him, he basically told him that he was going to teach him to be able to use his powers at any time at will without having to rely on these rage boosts. So, Gohan's battle instincts are essentially a play and a reference to the effect that Piccolo had on Gohan after his original training session with him in Dragon Ball Z. That's essentially when you see Gohan become Ultimate Gohan, the reason he has a physical change isn't just because it's bringing him to the peak of his potential. It's also because his battle instincts, which Piccolo honed through his training, have been activated. Gohan's battle instincts would not be as potent. He would not be able to fight as a professional fighter or a warrior. He wouldn't be able to fight as a proficient martial artist if it wasn't for Piccolo's influence. Piccolo is the reason that while his instincts are activated, he fights so proficiently and so well, because his battle instincts, and you got to keep in mind, the word battle instincts implies his instincts for battle itself. So rage activates his battle instincts, which activates his Saiyan nature, because again, Saiyans are a warrior race and they live for battle. So in their DNA is a blueprint for how to perform in combat. So that, in combination with Piccolo teaching Gohan how to correctly use that part of his nature, is the reason that he can automatically perform so well as he's fighting. And that's the reason that prior to the Tournament of Power, whenever Gohan gets his battle instincts back, he trains with Piccolo. And in this instance, Piccolo is also the one helping him get his battle instincts back, because Piccolo is the reason that he's been able to hone those instincts to begin with. So essentially the idea is that anytime Gohan activates his battle instincts, you can sort of think about it as the difference between Gohan when he first showed up in the series to after he trained with Piccolo and honed himself as a warrior. Anytime his battle instincts are activated, it's almost like, and Piccolo actually references this, he actually talked about getting them back. It's almost as if he loses something that he's had before, and what Piccolo is referencing there is the sense of battle, his instinct for battle that he gained as a result of Piccolo's influence. So it's almost as if Gohan is becoming the person that Piccolo helped him become at will. So the ultimate state sort of represents that within Gohan. And then Gohan Beast is essentially Gohan feeling that same feeling that he's felt from the very beginning of the series. Not the same feeling that's associated with Super Saiyan, because Super Saiyan is associated with a pure heart that's awakened by rage. That's not what this is. This is essentially Gohan feeling the same feeling that he's felt since the beginning of Dragon Ball whenever he attacked Raditz, or the same feeling that pushed him into Super Saiyan 2. This feeling is much more general than Goku's rage when he becomes a Super Saiyan. It's something that's innate to his instincts. It's something that's built into Gohan specifically. And it's due to the fact that his nature as a human and his nature as a Saiyan are so separate from each other that when he's put into a situation to activate his heart or his Saiyan instincts, he just becomes, he is completely dominated by them in a sense. That's the reason that he acts the way he does in the forms where he's dominated by his battle instincts. He acts like a totally different person in Super Saiyan 2. He acts like a totally different person whenever he has these rage boosts and attacks someone, because Gohan normally doesn't like to hurt anyone. It's like a dual aspect to his personality. So the difference is between Super Saiyan and Gohan Beast is that Gohan Beast is taking advantage of the many aspects of Gohan's character that are exclusive to him. The rage that he feels whenever he's going through the ritual is obviously now being treated as what Gohan would eventually use through Gohan Beast to awaken all of the potential that Old Kai unlocked in him. Basically what's going on here is Elder Kai gave Gohan the opportunity to use his battle instincts that Piccolo ingrained into him and his rage, and take those two aspects of his character, the two things that have been most important to him in terms of his development as a fighter, and combine them to create an ultimate form. Essentially, Piccolo's goal for Gohan at the very beginning of the series to allow him to use his full potential at will anytime he wants, with the help of the Elder Kai, that's essentially what Gohan has achieved here. Not only are his battle instincts intact, he's also taking advantage of the rage and what he uses to tap into the depths of his power. And the idea that Beast is its own mutation, and the idea that Beast really hammers home that Super Saiyan and Beast are both mutations, I think is ridiculously cool, just for the simple fact that the Elder Kai's job is to help species evolve and reach their max potential. So essentially what Grand Kai did for Gohan is he took him and he put him through a hyper evolutionary process where he evolved to his max potential as a species at a ridiculously fast rate by taking advantage of the fact that he's a Saiyan and that he can use his rage to evolve, he can use his heart to evolve and basically speed up the process of his evolution. So that in combination with what the old Kai did for Gohan is just a crazy combination, and it's no wonder that Gohan is so powerful, because he's essentially become the peak of his own personal biology, like his own evolution as a species. He's essentially evolved into the most advanced and perfect form of what a Saiyan human hybrid would be as a species, which I think is a really cool concept, and it's a really great way to cap off what Gohan has said about his ultimate form that he was working on in the past. So let's talk about Beast Gohan and Super Saiyan Goku's themes, because I think that's a very important difference to determine between Super Saiyan and Gohan Beast. So as I've established in previous videos, the Super Saiyan transformation essentially represents Goku's journey to becoming the victorious fighting Buddha, and when Gohan fights Cell in the Cell Saga, that's part of the reason that Goku has to serve as such a guide for Gohan, because Goku's journey is centered around the teachings of Master Roshi. That's the reason that Goku always wears the Turtle Hermit Gi. That's the reason that he is inherently different than Gohan, who normally wears Piccolo's Gi. Gohan starts off as an exaggerated form of a Buddha. He's very pacifistic. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. He doesn't want to fight at all, much like the main character of Journey to the West, Tripitaka. And so when he does tap into his Saiyan nature, it's exaggerated. It's much more deadly. It's much more animalistic. It's very different than Goku's because it's not being controlled. So Gohan Beast represents that aspect of Gohan's personality. He's essentially like Sun Wukong experiencing character development backwards and learning to embrace the aspects of his demon nature that he has completely lost, rather than balancing the two like Goku does with Super Saiyan. He's full on embracing his demonic nature and taking on its essence to become Gohan Beast, whereas Goku is taking his demonic nature and taming it with martial arts and his pure heart, which means the themes surrounding each form are very, very different and unique in their own way. One represents the teachings of the Turtle School and Budo and martial arts. The other represents the teachings of survival of the fittest and everything surrounding Piccolo's teachings, which are based around the concept of demons in Chinese mythology and the opposite principles of Buddhism, due to the fact that demons represent a very pure drive to survive and thrive and dominate their environment, to the point that their intentions themselves are pure. But Gohan tames that aspect of his personality with what Piccolo taught him, and he actually performs as a warrior rather than a uncontrolled beast who is just charging into battle without any discipline or any understanding of how to use his power. Due to Piccolo's teachings, now that Gohan has reached this level of power, he can take advantage of it as a warrior rather than just being this rabid, untamed, undisciplined creature which he emulated as a child prior to Piccolo's teachings. Remember, when Gohan first experienced this boost, there was no discipline, martial arts, or any efficiency behind how he performed. He just relied on these rage boosts and the power that they offered to survive in certain situations. So the themes surrounding Super Saiyan and Gohan Beast are very, very different and unique in their own way, and I think that makes each form pretty cool. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.